Hello everyone and welcome to the director's commentary for episode 3. I am Vikram the I directed and co-wrote this episode and also created the show.
I'm Hiya Das. I'm AD for this episode.
And hello, I'm Abhijato Sen Sharma. I'm also an AD for this episode and I'm also part of the writing team.
Let's go. Currently we're watching this previously on section, which is the first the first time we've done this for any episode. But since we already have a lot of lore to catch up on, we thought it'd be pretty helpful for viewers both at our offline premiere and on YouTube. So yeah, and now it comes to an end. The beginning, the capsule.
So you can see the most beautiful, graceful way of cutting a capsicum in the next minute.
It's been cut in all angles. It's very comprehensive.
Yeah, I already expected that my cast may not be very proficient in like different languages and like, playing the guitar and stuff like that. But I thought cutting a capsicum would be easier than this. But where it is where it is. I think it looks very cool with the intercut bits as well. So and
if
plus,
not a bit odd.
Yeah, and plus Dhruv has done such a great job with the score in this bit. So yeah, I think it worked out.
Dhruv has magic hands. Must be said out loud.
Thank you for saying that out loud. And now we come to the panel. This is a pretty cool shot for their first introduction, just to stare down. I think the entire intercut bit worked really well. It was a pretty solid start of the episode. Also set up the whole black and white color, rapid transitions.
Can I just say the Maggie lying there was the most obvious plant.
Which line in particular?
Blunt.
The Maggie pan lying on the floor. We were just laughing over it for like 10 minutes.
Oh right, yes, yeah.
The entire shoot that day actually.
Yeah.
Abhijato and I had AD lore of our own going on while this exact scene was being shot actually.
Yeah.
So the lights keep going off at the back. So we were just doing Power Ranger moves to keep the lights on, and director Sahab was very disappointed in us. But the lights were on at the end of the day.
Yeah, and a bit of futuristic Western plot was going on too, like some cowboy action.
Yeah, it's really fun to think about, from the perspective of someone who's involved in shooting this, that while all this is going on, the two ADs were running around throwing Power Ranger moves at each other.
Behind them.
But that was because this was a very bad location to shoot at, which we did not realize. The lights had motion sensors, so they would keep going off, and they would go off with like a click sound as well, so it wasn't just silent. Plus, the lifts would keep bothering us with random sounds between dialogue, so we had to do multiple takes, and a lot of them were rendered pretty much useless. So this was a little bit sad that we're just left with, we had to work with very little here, but yeah, it didn't last that long anyway.
Do you think in retrospect you would have picked a different location?
Yeah, I would have probably, I know we have too much of like dorm rooms, but I would have probably said anywhere else, any other building's pantry, though that was like not the RH5 pantry.
This is Sohani Cooper as Shrishti.
And that was a reshoot, the bit where she leans in, and this is the original footage. But I think this is it was a reshoot because the original reshoot, there's a reshoot too. Maybe I shouldn't point them out. If that like ruins
movie magic.
Yeah, suspense of disbelief or whatever. But I think most of them were integrated pretty well, as well as possible. And this scene, even though it's a little bit disorienting in like who's looking where, sort of adds to it.
Yeah.
Sort of comes together well. Yeah.
Yeah. This was shot over like, I guess like 4 or 5 days because of actor availability. So except for the very wide shots, it was all just like at max 3 people in the same room in terms of actors. And there were like at least 20 pages across which the dialogues were just spread out, probably more.
Individual dialogues
So
on the days
yeah, so we would handle mics, we would handle audio. Vikram would mostly handle the shots and acting, and I remember me and Hiya would just run around with a pen and the script, just ticking off what dialogue was done when.
The intercuts here also came out really well. And the Make-A-Wish. Oh, and we can't hear the sound right now, but it was so cool, the entire transition from this to the theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we reached our main theme, which is the most packed it's ever been. Running past names in quick succession.
How did it feel to work with such a big team?
At one point you don't realize how big the team is because you don't work with everyone at one go, right? Because they're all segregated into different scenes, and then of course the camera people also. We don't have the entire camera crew at any one point of time. So yeah, it doesn't really feel that big while the episode is in production, but then you put it all together and all the names have to be written down and like, wow, that was a lot of people involved in this, and with their own unique roles that I think like basically everyone pulled through with a very good performance in the supporting cast, and of course the camera crew also did such an incredible job. So I'm really happy with everyone.
And a few of them will appear in the next episode as well, but a lot of them auditioned earlier and we just really wanted them on the episode, and I think everyone who was new to the cast was just so good and excited to be there. Like, I think the professionalism and just like them turning up and being excited to be part of the show really went a long way in making it what it is. So yeah.
Created by Vikram.
This short I actually did on my phone, and I added very late into it. Just the beginning, the beginning rain thing. Just to establish that it is raining. I remember when it did happen to rain on campus. Oh, okay, actually, we're coming to the Congress really, but when it was raining on campus for real, I just sent a text on the group like, anyone can record footage, please record footage, and then I just happened to record my phone as well, just in case, and ended up using it.
This was a lot of fun to shoot.
This was the last day of shooting.
This was even more fun to edit. Some of these effects of like the VHS tape thing and like glitching is actually what we use in the intro sequence as well. So just reuse that here. And the 4x3 thing is something I was very obsessed with before as well, just to show in a very clear sense that this is like something on a phone and not, I definitely do not want to use like a vertical reel format.
It's too tiny.
I don't think anyone has been this happy to go pee.
This shoot day was really packed. Remember, it was like the room, there was barely any space to move, mics and cameras and people.
Yeah, there were like I think 7 or 8 people packed into that little dorm room.
It doesn't look like it though when you rewatch.
Yeah, because they were like all stuffed in one end towards the door. This took like 3 or 4 takes, and like I remember Anik took like 1 or 2 or 3, and then he just couldn't, and then Annika had to come and do it, and she did it in one take. It was about the camera person laughing while panning. What's interesting is like Karnya and Chandan here both auditioned for Rehan, and they both got pretty different roles in the end of the day in the 3rd episode. One being more charming, and also, of course, the one who gets blackmailed at the end of the day, and the other more inquisitive about Bombay participating in her party.
Was there any reason you wrote Chandan's character the way you did?
I just want one to be more socially awkward and like responsible, which is why he brings up the cheating, and the other one to be sort of, breezy but also cool, and comes back to bite him later on.
It's also pretty important that they're all Ria's friends and not Bombay's.
Yeah.
There's just something so funny about them not even knowing Bombay and being at a party.
Yeah. It's like when you're a kid and your parents throw you the party, and it's like all the friends and everyone are like just your parents' friends and their kids, and you're just there. This is actually a different room, which now we can sort of bring up. This is we had to recast the room because of various reasons. So that was the one where we saw the birthday party was the original room from the 2nd episode. This is a recast version of Bombay and Ria's room, which is actually
my room. Look at that poster. Look at that beautiful poster, just staring straight at Ria.
I did not realize it was a Tyler the Creator poster until the editing.
Yeah,
same.
But yeah,
I just thought it was like a retro, like neo-noir movie, and then I was like, wait, why is Tyler the Creator? It's like a 1960s film.
But it looked really cool, so I let it anyway. And this shot is also, I think, goes.
I think this is one of my favorite scenes in the episode purely because of like, I think it just looks so dynamic when you look back at it, but like, it could have turned out very different. So just like walking into the room and like getting these low angle shots and it all coming together. And this was one of the first edited scenes that I saw. So that was when I knew that the episode was gonna be good. Yeah.
I think the chemistry between these two is also the best in this episode, and like in this scene, in particular. I think Teishi really brings out the frustration and like annoyance here completely. Even though like obviously she feels guilty about missing the party as well, and Mihika sort of forgets about the party very early on, and is now only obsessed with the mission that will drive her character not only in the episode but as you realize later on in the entire show. This is technically where it all starts, and both of them did a pretty good job here.
What was the motivation behind making this entire series non-linear? Why not just say the story from past to present?
I think, first of all, I mean, in very basic sense, you build up intrigue when you enter a world that already feels lived in, and the character has also had some experience with some history that she's moving forward with, and also builds up intrigue about what really happened last year. That, you know, we don't really like spew this out in the first episode. We tell you in the third one, and second, I think it helps here in the storytelling way because even Bombay doesn't want to acknowledge all of this when the show starts. Right? She has a mission and she has certain desires, but she doesn't feel the need to elucidate them to anyone, even herself. And here, you know, it fit in thematically because the deposition is like uncovering all of this evidence and stuff that went down last year. So it makes sense here to like have all of this exposition as well. And we were able to do this. I mean, I know there's a lot of exposition heavy scenes in the episode, but this one in particular, I think this was done pretty seamlessly. We don't really delve into like what Ria's case is and all that because it is important to her, but it's not that relevant to Bombay's story. So this is a very skinny, skinned out version of, you know, all the exposition heavy bits.
Would you like to talk about this scene, Vikram?
This is our first. This is our first, and you know, I don't know about the future, but till now only one take, entire one take scene in the entire show, and this got a lot of oohs and ahs in the screening as well, and people realized that we were not going to cut, and this took around 20-25 takes, if I'm not wrong. And although we had mics on at the time, we did have to use dubbed audio later on.
This spin was, I think, the camera person's idea.
Yes. This was, I think, Ayushi and Anaga had come up with us, and it was their plan completely. I did not anticipate the spin, but it worked out so well, and glad I was able to use one of the takes with the spin on.
Every time Praneel walks out that door, he comes to us frustrated on the verge of tears, saying, "I can't do another take." That was the best.
Praneel was on the verge of tears. Imagine what Mika went through walking on him. And even Gayatri's character Aisha, like, you finally hear and like all those lines there.
You know, for the scene, me and Hiya were just squatting on the floor for like the entire hour and a half.
I just want to make it clear. I want to make it clear that
Here we
multiple
go.
times that they did not need to squat. We could find a different placement for the mics, but I think they just grew into the role.
The AD solidarity in this episode was very, very strong.
Yeah, I think when one person was squatting, the other person just like, even though they did not need to. Yeah, you know, you can't leave a comrade out
And
there.
Vikram as director would just not get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I won't. But this scene and the next EB scene they were both done at the same time. And this was actually wrapped up pretty quickly. I think we took like an hour and a half for both scenes together. Probably less than that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty impressive because it did turn out very well. Apart from some camera issues with the shutter speed, but I think that also was mostly cleared up in post. And then Aisha in the present. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I kind of.
This
really
was the
liked
day
this
she had her
episode.
flight, right?
Oh, yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
Yeah.
This was the same day as the one take day. This was
Yeah.
like the morning and that was the afternoon.
And then the eating in between as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of
Well, not this eating.
Oh, not
But,
this eating.
Yeah.
Just got laughs.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, understandably.
One of
It
my
was
friends
very
said it reminded him of like a Wes Anderson shot.
funny.
This was a very fun scene. Also because this was
Both of you are in it, technically.
Yeah. This was. I think this was before people had come back to
Yes,
campus, and this was also one of the first scenes that I edited. And there's just so much you notice when you are editing, and I think with this scene in particular, the actors were just so good. But you don't really notice it because it's just flowing into the world of the story, right? But it's the performances. Yeah.
It's when you just like, but even while editing, sometimes I would just get absorbed into the show and the dialogues that I wrote. I was like, I already know this load. I know what happens before and after. Why am I getting so like invested? Like, it's the performances, They really
but also just constant direction from both of you really helped to do. And I think that's why there's this issue with Mihika where we don't give them as much feedback and they get all antsy about it. But yeah, I think direction also helped a lot with this. And this is my favorite part. Shout out Diet Coke.
This is inspired by Hiya. This is a bit of Hiya seeping into Tanvi.
Yeah, real life tendencies. Blurring into fiction.
Drinking Diet Coke, guys.
Yeah,
just the drinking.
Just the drinking. Talking about the Diet Coke. We're just talking about
nothing about the kleptomania there.
But it is actually your own Diet Coke in real life, so we can rest easy. You don't actually steal from anyone.
I did not steal Diet Coke from Abhijato.
Yet. But this is a very subtle way to like introduce this character for Tanvi, so who knows where it'll go next. I mean, plus this is the first episode. Tanvi is like a real character and not just like an exposition device. She was in the second episode.
Yeah. And this is also very interesting compared to what lies in the future for her, because right now she doesn't even know a lot of the things related to the Congress, and she's just kind of trying to help out a friend and being like, do you really need to do this? Compared to where she is in the present, as we've seen already, their friendship is kind of broken and they're more professional.
Broken just like the sandwich.
This scene. There is one take where the plate flips up 1 centimeter, and because of that I had to redo it, and I had to spit the sandwich out because it was so dry. Truly one of my greatest moments, I think.
So a lot of people didn't realize, I don't know if I should mention it here or not, but the thing she talks about here, the 3 poisons of Buddhism, relates to the articles.
You should.
The lust, hate and delusion bit is like they are the 3 chapters of the episode as well. 1, 2 and 3, the first, second and third articles. First article is about Bombay initially starting to help Riya, so lust. Second article is just her obsession with the Congress taking over, hate, and third article is when she doesn't really have any basis to go off of and like she just makes a spur of the moment deluded decision. So
how do you think of the 3 poisons of Buddhism though?
I think I don't know if Abhijato wants to take this one or like.
I mean, no, it was your idea. You can go ahead.
No, but because we have already thought of the 3 articles theme, and then it was just a matter of trying to fit in somewhere thematically, and I found out about the 3 poisons of Buddhism, and they just happened to fit the article thing as well. I mean, I know like the lust, hate, and delusion are just rough translations into English, but even other synonyms or similar translations like sort of helped. So I was like, that was a pretty neat way to like tie it all together. So it's a 3rd episode. It's called 3 Steps Back. It's got 3 articles, 3 chapters, 3 poisons, and also, as you'll see later in the hallucination sequence, 3 ghosts. So, yeah.
So would you have just kept looking for some theme that fit with the whole 3 article idea?
No. I mean, it wasn't. It was a neat thing that also worked out. It wasn't like the basis to work off of.
Yeah.
So
it's super cool though.
I think there's a lot of things about this episode that won't hit you the first time you watch it, especially because of the pace at which it's happening, but it's things like these. I think someone did realize this connection and they were just thinking about it later, and then they were like, oh, 1, 2, 3, oh, 3 traits. Yeah.
Guys, what's that behind Riya? Whoa, what's that little speech bubble and that mass of hair?
I think we should move past that because it's a very important bit where Bombay sort of just tells her, I'm gonna do this even if you don't want me to, which is just
I love that delivery.
Yeah.
Also, you're trying to change the topic. It's fine. it's a caricature of our director.
It is a caricature of me that
very
Hiya drew on the whiteboard
with very
that we left into the episode. Yes. Thank you. I'm not gonna cite the speech right now that you wrote for me, but yeah. But yeah. Again, something that was written into the script and worked out really well.
Exactly. I remember reading that in vacation. and thinking that is so cool. And
Yeah.
all throughout the script, I think reading it, there were so many moments where I was like, I can't wait to see how it looks, how it's going to be shot, how it's going to be edited. And yeah, now we see it, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And also here Bombay's color graded and also wearing much darker clothes than Aisha in the black and white sequence. And when we come back to present, Aisha is the one in black who's sort of like also, you know, as along with Bombay. So I think that's a pretty cool, like maybe not intentional, but again something that worked out in terms of color and theme. Who eats a sandwich like that?
God forbid a girl eat a sandwich.
No, but like who eats a sandwich in the middle? Like I wasn't here when they shot that sandwich eating bit. Otherwise, I would have made a fuss about it.
Yeah, like how you made a fuss with me.
Yeah, with your sandwich eating bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another key moment. That's why this episode feels so fast. We just move from thing to thing so quickly, and not just like exposition wise, but like key reveal in terms of the characters, like and choices that they make as well.
Like, I will be honest, when I was reading the script for this particular scene, it was sinking in, and then when I watched like the first few cuts of it just like went by really fast. So yeah,
I think this was another moment that got a lot of reactions, and it makes sense because I was part of the writing team, and the time I received the script was the first time I realized, oh, that's a twist, and I remember just being like floored when I was reading it for the first time. Yeah.
I thought of this twist thing pretty late into the writing, but it was actually a clever way to, like, because the deposition is obviously claiming that Bombay's work is harming people. It was a clever way to tie it back to like, oh, the person you harmed was the person you fought for. So that's why that's why the first article is relevant. But yeah. Oh, we've come to the dhaba scene.
Just for the record, this was shot from 12 midnight to around
we wrapped up by 1:30, yeah.
As of that makes it better. And then we shot the next scene around by 1:45, 50. And this was peak North Indian winter, so it was around
3-4.
Felt even colder, but yes.
Must have been around 4 or 5 degrees, I think. Yeah.
He's trying to pump it up now.
Maybe I'm just used to it, okay? But yeah, I mean, Mihika and Abhijato, I mean, Hiya wasn't there at the time, but Abhijato and I and Mihika and some of the camera people had been working all day, and then Jadhav, Praneer and Pragyas came as well. So yeah, it was a big team effort. But while they were actually performing, like everyone, it was pretty intense, right? You can see on Jadhav's face how intense it was. So that sort of helped as well. Like the scene is pretty ferocious in itself, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they were having a calmer conversation at 12 a.m., then I guess the cold would have hit much harder. But yeah.
Yeah, this is such a biting scene in terms of Jadhav's acting as well as the writing.
I think the entire scene does make it worth shooting at midnight at 3-degree weather.
Yeah.
In the dhaba.
We had a lot of problem with editing the footage, but I think...
Oh, remember we were taking a late night walk through the fog, and then we saw the table.
Yeah, the first day after shoot. Yeah.
Serendipity.
Yeah. There were problems with both video and audio here. Video in terms of one camera was much better at like shooting in low light, and the other was not that good. So we had to color match in a lot of cases, and also adjust contrast and exposure and stuff like that. And then there was audio. So Jadhav was loud enough for the camera audio to be good for him, but the others needed dubbing here and there. And that is somewhat noticeable even here, which is a little bit sad, but I think it was like the footage was too good to actually do a reshoot. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
One more thing that I sort of noticed, which was not intentional, but in the entire
there's
episode,
a mic visible there.
Oh my god, don't point it out. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I remove that or if I'm too lazy to do. Oh yeah, but in the entire episode, apart from his last scene, in the present timeline, Jadhav is wearing grey, and then when he decides to leave the club, he's wearing black. So I think and that was completely unintentional and technically a mistake as well. I mean, it's not that big of a mistake. He could have just changed it with a different time. But again, something that just happens on its own and just like wowed by it later on. Because again, something with like color and like theme. Like, and he finally made up his mind to leave. He's, went from grey to black. So, yeah.
This scene had a lot of reactions too. Some
Yeah.
funny, some just wondering.
Yeah.
The shot with, first of all, the transition worked out really well here. But this shot in particular that you're watching right now is Anik's idea, and it came out really well.
Yeah. We were all wrapped up and ready to go, and suddenly we were like, "Hey, let's shoot this one as well."
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
This is what I wish I looked like at 2 a.m. when I really want to smoke. When he was with me.
And this like almost match cut from the lighter to the
That did get a lot of
Yeah,
reactions,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
There's not a lot of reactions.
Yeah, the glasses coming off was not intentional.
But I think it added to it.
Yeah, 100%.
And this was again right before the semester started, so it was an emptier Tapri right outside campus.
Justice for the dog who has been removed from the
The
scene.
dog, the buffalo,
the goats, yeah.
the goats, the buffaloes. There was like herds after herds just.
You can
walking
still
by.
hear them here and there,
Yeah.
grazing. But like
See that in the background, but
Oh
yeah.
There it goes.
It was either keeping them or keeping the cool transition. So I had to make a difficult choice. Since we already got a lot of dog footage in the second episode, yeah, so did have to keep the transition instead. The bit over here is dubbed, and it was dubbed very late, actually, maybe like 2 or 3 days before the premiere, right? But yeah, and the dialogue was also changed because we had to accommodate for the time gap between this and the next scene, which is at night. That was not scripted.
don't have the budget to hire a biker.
2 guys on a bike. Just drive past the camera.
I keep joking about this, but you can clearly see how many times I have written over that window.
I mean, Bombay just needed to be explained.
Yeah, Bombay just dumb as hell.
Just 10 different times.
This is like the 4th time that we saying what president is.
And each time Bombay is just like Pikachu face, like, huh?
What's a legislature?
What's the more legitimate side of Congress?
But this is the very first scene we shot.
Ever shot.
Yeah, for the 3rd episode. And this was the only scene we shot that day because we had all come in the evening. And but the footage turned out really well. Like, obviously we couldn't use a lot of the stuff where we were trying out how to capture the glass and this, that. We could only take a few shots from that. But other than that, especially when Bombay does the little walk and walk back right now, it looked really good. And I think the black and white color grading also really helped the scene. It would not have looked this good in color.
Would you guys like to explain why I'm drawing on a window that's like illegible?
So first of all, we came to a nice unlocked classroom and we were like, this is miraculous, why have they done this? And we were like, okay, let's shoot. And then we spent half an hour doing impeccable blocking for the entire scene, and then the bhaiya just comes in and he's like, time to leave. So then we walk into the library cafe and
but I think this scene would not have looked this good in a classroom. It was a blessing in disguise. And even the music bit here, again, we are not listening to the music while doing the commentary, but the music while Bombay is thinking, the interwoven bits of like Bombay's theme into the scene, that was so well done. Always impressed by the group. Like, I'm never surprised, always impressed.
Banger line. Never surprised. It's like the inverse of I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
The screenwriter in me just came out, sorry. But it's a big risk line is also pretty funny. And the actors, I don't know about Tanvi, but Mika did not get this because like I had to say like, oh, it means you're saying you expect Tanvi to give it to you, and then oh no, she can't. I thought of inserting a flashback of Karnya's face before Bombay says I'll take his odds, but I decided against it. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see how that would really help the audience, so I was actually thinking.
You know, a big thing with a lot of these decisions are that you have to work with what you have. And also, at the end of the day, you just make a decision and stick to it. Yeah. And I think here, the seamless walking out and then walking in, I think that wouldn't have been the same. So, you lose something, you gain something.
This transition also lagged. I think in the script it said like one door closes as another one opens, and when go from black and white to past. Black and white to present.
The funny thing is we're recording in the same room and the earphones are still over the glass bottle. And I was editing a scene from the next episode yesterday and the headphones are still over the bottle. And now I'm wondering...
You need to give my roommate props for such consistent set design.
All I'm wondering is when does he use it?
No, he does use it pretty often, but then he keeps it back there only. Like that is the default position.
Yeah.
Tamanna has very little to do in this episode, but she does absolutely nail all her bits. Like this entire bit and then the hug later as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like probably the only time in the show this far that Bombay's been caught in a lie. Like I know Dingle also accuses her, but here like she has no escape and just has to admit it.
Yeah.
She's just run out of lies for the day. Lie quota exhausted.
And the funny thing is, and we were really discussing when does some like Gayatri come and confront Bombay about the lie, and at first we did not have the confrontation at all, and then we had like a very half-assed confrontation, and then I think we settled into this like nice middle ground where Bombay, despite being caught, still manipulates her way out of those situations somehow. Yeah.
It was just because we had so many plot threads to continue from both episodes before this, and also like so many new things to introduce, that this Gayatri Bombay bit, which was a big part of the second episode, we didn't really know how to incorporate while all of this was going on, right? So we didn't want it to like be a khichdi of plot and like exposition and then continue throughout threads as well. But I think we were able to do a pretty good job. Like we just sort of acknowledged the Gayatri thing and then both of them sort of moved on mutually from it. So it's not like we ignored it completely, but we did have bigger fish to fry.
This is my favorite bit of Throw's music.
Yeah, the ticking.
Yeah. You know, it's simple but it works. It's the metronome.
And here the orchestra comes in a bit. This bit also was very short but got a lot of ooze from the audience.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah, and then but the texting part comes later, but
that was good. Yeah.
And I think like Bombay often like people are like, oh, but you know, at the end of the day, this is college. Like, why aren't they doing more college things? And I think just blackmailing someone, which seems so like, you know, like so such an adult thing to do. Like you're blackmailing someone for in this crime thriller. And then what's the blackmail? That, oh, I'm gonna tell your girlfriend you're cheating on her. You know, I think I like the juvenile aspects of this in like a good way. Yeah.
This entire sequence. There we go. Blackmail.
This is so petty. I love it.
Yeah, somebody shouted Jesus in the... This entire bit, it just...
Yeah, I think Manya was the one who came up with the idea, and it was... Yeah, she was doing the blackmailing in person at first, but yeah, this worked out well.
I thought when you said she, you meant like Manya was doing the blackmailing. Just an inspiration from real life.
Our writer for the episode is just there.
Wonder who IRL Bombay really is. We missed Gayatri's shocked Pikachu face here, but yeah, that's always makes me smile while all of the serious talk is going on. Praneel also, the little guilty face here. It's something you wouldn't see from Pranav in the present timeline, so it was interesting to see that aspect. This looked like 15 takes, but yeah, it was fine in the end.
This entire bit though, it flows from present to past like really seamlessly.
Yeah.
I feel like other times, like for someone who's not as involved with creating this, it would get a bit confusing, but this part just seemed like, because we're telling one story the entire time, even if we're cutting from present and past.
Also, it's not unique, but like the episode has like this visual grammar of like black and white and color. And by this point, like it's pretty much seeped into people's bones, which is why like you can, you know, mess around. It's like cut. I think there's like 10 cuts in the last 3 minutes. So the fact that like you won't get disoriented at this point kind of like talks about how the setup worked. Where the first act can seem to drag a bit at times, but it doesn't, because like it's a more emotionally grounded story in the past with like just exposition in the present, and then they all blend in towards, you know, this. I think we're almost into the third act, so yeah, you know, the pacing works. This guitar scene, I was squatting once again in front of right behind Riya there, and this was Smoke on Water, but yeah, we had to dub over all the notes later.
So all the guitar you actually hear is Abhijato playing his guitar, and everything like all the guitar that Mika actually plays is not in the final cut at all.
There's one take of that
Yeah.
when Hiya pushes Bombay in the worst, most awkward way
Right.
possible.
Oh, I completely
And
forgot about
Bombay
that.
just,
Yeah.
falls
The
over.
scene originally we saw it to end with Riya pushing Bombay onto the bed,
Yeah.
but we did not keep that because it did not work out.
I never noticed the cut from like Bombay laughing to like
Yeah.
Riya being serious there. That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
This one also was very quick. I mean, it is a short scene.
I think he edited this scene
Really well. Yeah,
Really
I told you like while the premiere was going on also. So.
Yeah. Damn. For anyone wondering, that's not a cat that's come into the room. It's just Hiya being happy.
So they ate the Maggie, and then they ate this, and then they had the muffin. Because those are the shots, the scenes we
They
shot.
never actually ate the muffin though.
Well, we
They just,
divided
like,
amongst all of us.
Yeah.
By this
but-
point, they were pretty much struggling.
And they had dinner prior to coming for shoot.
Yeah.
So it's just food and food and food for them, man. Yeah.
Good thing we didn't do multiple takes of this, like more eating.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that we shot in like a lot of classrooms, but it never really gets boring, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Because then we have locations like this, right? Like
Yeah.
We keep switching it up.
Yeah. And I was so insistent on getting the painting, and then everyone was like, really? Really? And then I used the same motif in like episode 4. But there's just something so cool about like 2 like lions staring down. Yeah.
No, it's time for the greenery.
Yeah. The graphics are so cheesy. I was initially very skeptical when I heard about it, but look at that. Look at that. How can you not love it?
But this is like, I mean, I was just thinking of like, what would the Campus Express editors do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this makes the most sense. Like, what if like Aisha was in charge of editing this?
Yeah.
When you say that, like, it makes so much, like, particularly Aisha.
Yeah.
The Manas voice we did very late into the game again. Yeah. Oh, here's where we cut to 3. This got a bit of like an ooh and ah. This was like I didn't expect like one of the number or like chapter openings to get a reaction, but I think by this point, people were pretty invested in the audience. Oh god, this score for this is so sad. This is just, by the way, this is archival footage from the second episode. We need to place it here to show people where this happens in the timeline. But this is like, what makes it even sad is that it's election day. So Bombay's already depressed. And he comes back to the room and sees this. And the score is so sad. We wrote this bit, we came up with it, we came up with the characters, we already seen it in the second episode, but it's so much sadder here when you know all this context.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I was tearing up, and I'm so annoyed by looking at all their faces while editing. So it's really remarkable.
It was 2 a.m. at night, and me, Mika, Hiya, and Vikram were walking, looking at. I think we wanted to show Mika one of the posters. And then Vikram just stops in his tracks and he's like, guys, you need to watch this. And then we watched the scene with the music. So,
It was
yeah.
heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Oh my god, was it 2 a.m.? Wow.
Probably later.
Time
Yeah.
makes no sense when you're working.
We have pulled up so many almost all-nighters working on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some laughs when Gyan said Among Us, but I sort of expected that. See, he's wearing black now. And it looks like the same thing almost. It's like someone dyed in black.
I think that's why even he forgot to like. He was like, oh, he's close enough. Yeah, but again, like props to Jaidhar. He's really pulled up with the thespian acting here.
Yeah,
Like
he seems classically trained in all these takes.
Like he's above all this nonsense going on at the Kaleidoscope meeting. Yeah.
I literally have to walk out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so dramatic, and it's like, a perfect farewell to. Yeah. I think this also sets up like the Kaleidoscope will be finished tomorrow, because at that point No one expects it not to be finished.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we did need to like raise the stakes by having some permanent consequence to all of this. Because, fine, if the club is going to, miraculously be saved in the end, there needs to be some big change going forward. And Dhingra walking away from Pranav at this rom-com-esque
Hashtag justice for Pranav.
Hashtag justice for Pranav, yes. But with that, we come to probably the sequence of the episode is going to be most remembered for, and that's saying a lot considering all the other stuff we just watched. But we are here at the drug sequence, and you can already tell. I think the
cat of Hiya comes out again.
the music in this bit, like it's a
Oh
modified
my
version of the
God.
Bombay theme, but yeah, it's so intense already.
Everything about this, man.
Yeah, we had a very tough time shooting this scene because the camera just could not pick up. Yeah.
But this one adds to it.
Adds to it. Yeah, we got just enough in the end.
And we also had limited time, right, in this room.
We had limited time for cross access because we started shooting at like I think 11:30, yes. 11:30 everyone was there, and then we had only an hour to wrap up, which seems like a lot for just a short scene, but when the camera can't focus at all, then you start panicking.
And we had to put in a lot of effort into the hair.
Yeah.
And then they kept getting uncomfortable and like removing the hair, and we would all shout like,
This
no.
is my favorite bit, the cash grab. This is like, and then the door slam. That was a great transition.
The lighting, I remember I was running late from class because the professor just wasn't leaving us at like 10 at night or something. And I come and I just enter this room with like red on one side and blue on one side. And on the day of the screening, someone from the crowd just went bisexual lighting.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Oh my god, who is it again?
Oh my god, it's the 80s.
Oh my
The
god.
280s, that's me there.
That's me in
Silhouetted.
red.
Yeah. Just for the record, no one does drugs like this. not that we would.
You need to,
Not that we would know,
you need
but
to,
like-
you need to suspend your disbelief. That's how it works in the Bombay universe.
Man, that's a solid nod.
Like, okay, I'm editor now. Nod.
This part, Vikram's genius keyframe idea to turn it to red at like what 3?
No, I don't think it was my idea. It was your
Was it
idea.
yours?
Right?
Yeah.
No,
Abhijato.
no, it was not my idea.
Amazing.
But it worked out really well.
Yeah. This part is so good.
Yeah. Also, the red keeps just becoming redder. And you don't notice it at first. Yeah, you don't notice it at first. I think on the day of the screening you could because the projector was not very capable.
It was very reddish greenish.
But here, I think if you're watching it on like a competent screen, then yeah, I mean you can just see, and it blends into the chairs as well, right?
And the crowd was really a lot of reactions as it turned red.
I knew there would be a big reaction when Lighter Guy came, but yeah, even for this entire bit while the hallucination was going on, it was very intense.
Shout out to Lighter Guy.
Shout out to Lighter Guy.
Yeah.
He lit up the scene.
You see what he did that. The funny thing is, a lot of people, when they were, according to Vikram, when they were like writing in to be a part of Bombay and the team, used Lighter Guy as like one of the characters in the sample scenes that they wrote, including me. But we didn't really have him that much going forward because it was, supposed to be just a figment of our imagination, at least this persona. So it was always, nice to have him back.
This bit when it goes from so much color to just black and white and Ria's first dialogue.
Yeah.
And there's aura bit.
Yeah.
I still hate that mask, but I think it worked out well. And I did some more color grading on top of Mika as well, so make her look more twisted.
Yeah.
And here again. And another transition into the black and white.
Yeah, and this was all one takes. Like me and Hiya were just standing in a corner of the room, and like Mika and Vikram were just like running around. Pick that up, do that. Yeah.
With the camera.
Yeah.
So my instructions were rapid because we had to do this entire bit in 5 minutes. So because we had to shoot the dhaba scene right after this, and I need to give people a break before that happens. So we were on a very tight schedule, and
1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
Erase, yeah.
That's how we get that done.
This we were doing the night before the premiere, where we were deleting the letters one at a time to make it seem like it was being written in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is against a great
Favorite
sequence.
shot.
Yeah.
Favorite. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
And
was
the
this is one shot that was translated exactly as I had imagined it onto the screen, and yeah, that's just the most beautiful feeling ever as like a writer director. Like when you imagine it, like it happens exactly as you know, because I already knew their faces, I knew what they looked like, I knew how they look on the bed and the shoulder and everything, and it looked exactly like that. So
Also, can I just say the masking right there? Like you barely even notice that Bombay is in color,
yeah.
in black and white, but yeah.
Just like the Manna, Vatsul doesn't have that much to do in this episode, but I think this monologue was done pretty well. He did a lot of takes, and like he also says it the most differently out of all the ghosts and the people. So also added to it. He's the most manic pixie ghost that Bombay imagines.
And he's barely looking down while he's saying the dialogues. Yeah. It's like the most internalized part of Bombay's three ghosts.
So while we were shooting this, I was yelling instructions rapidly again and again,
Yeah.
and very loudly about what Bombay is thinking right now, how Mika has to react to stuff, what Bombay is seeing on the screen later on as well. And we just come to that bit right now. So how do I, like, then we had to conundrum, how do I like show that in graphics? So then, you know, we can do a reverse on the laptop, we can show like the mouse going over different buttons and all that. We can have all that jazz. But it, of course, it would be difficult to animate as well, and it would be also a little bit convoluted. So instead of that, just have one slot for a word there and a view count. So just publish, that turns to publish, with that dramatic music introduction, and then this view counter. This is me when I tweet anything. But it usually stays at 0 or 1 likes.
This is insane traction. I think someone else said it earlier.
Yeah.
But
you can really tell the newspaper was very alive at the time.
yeah.
And the fact that it goes from 34 to 400 something when she wakes up.
How long would you say Bombay was sleeping?
So initially, I didn't plan on the sleeping for hours thing at all. I think it was Abhijato's idea. I don't remember, but like
me and Manya both. Yeah.
So, but it worked out really well. So I would say like now that the sleeping has actually happened, at least 4 to 5 hours maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I was sort of thinking like just like an hour or two. But I think more importantly, I think the fact that Tanvi here never even like reads the article. Because I'm assuming that after the victory they've been partying or whatever. Yeah.
So that leaves it vague, right? Whether the article had any impact on Manas at all. Because, I mean, sure, almost 500 people have read it, but Tanvi hasn't read it. So did Manas read it? Like, yeah.
And talking of that, would you like to clarify who Manas is and what happened to him, and if not, why?
No.
No.
No, but that's like the point. Like, I am not going to clarify and ruin that for people. Like, that's just your interpretation, like what happens to us. All we know is that he's in the infirmary right now, and then a year later he doesn't matter, right? Because Rihanna's taken over after this.
Yeah.
So whatever you would like to have, you know, imagine.
Since premiere, so many friends asking, what happens to Manas? What happens to
And now
Manas?
you know the answer at exactly 48.33 seconds of episode 3 commentary. You can just like, you can cite this. Yeah. I think also like this is another one of those moments where you can take it for granted so easily how good the acting is. Like you're just staring at like a laptop and just reacting to a director yelling instructions in real time.
It's so good. And even
this wasn't meant to stay in, but like I think everyone liked it so much that
yeah, this was actually this simple transition from black and white to color was a placeholder. And then I asked people how they, like in the rough cut screening, how they liked it, and everyone liked it. So I thought, okay, we'll stay with it. But I had something more fancy planned initially. But you know, if it works, then sometimes less is more.
Yeah. And here the height difference is really intentionally, like I remember just being like, just keep it a little lower, and then I think this is also like much higher. Like this is not how they'll be standing in real life, but because it's still part of the drug sequence, you just
oh, this.
Oh, the motion blur here.
Yeah. we had like 2 takes of these, and both times the falls were really convincing.
We were initially thinking of a straight up shove, but this looks good.
Yeah. The camera just like tilts for a second. Yeah.
Stock footage. If you look closely there in the green, while in the little group that's playing something in the middle of the field, in the green, that's Dinka right there. You'll never hear
He's left and now he's unbothered.
Yeah, he's unbothered, moisturized, playing something in the field. But it was very important to include this here instead of later because you get a lot of oohs and ahs when they're talking. So then you can just like blend in like, oh, it's the people playing in the field. Like, the contrast in emotions between what's happening here and what's happening right down there.
Yeah, I remember we were shooting the scene. And again, I think this was... later in the scene, they'll literally be shouting at each other. And people were looking up at us from the launch being like, what's happening?
Oh, they were.
Yeah, and the only reason we could like get such a nice space in the middle of the day again is because we came early. And I remember me and Vikram were just like standing on either end with like mics in our hand. And we were just like looking at each other and like, wow, they are being so good right now. And I complimented them by mistake during the shoot, and he just went at me and we were like, no, never feed their egos.
Always that was later.
Yeah.
No. Both of us were just like so bewildered by how good the acting was here.
Yeah.
I did not, because none of this like really came through the rehearsals, so I did not expect this intensity.
Yeah.
But both of them did a really stellar job here. Not to feed your ego right now here.
No, I think what helps the most is just having an actor like Mihika to bounce off of.
Yeah.
Because they did so much. They propped up my acting, I would say.
Yeah.
Having to respond to the way they were acting.
Yeah.
No, but in that sense, both of you have pretty good chemistry. If you can respond and react to each other as well.
Yeah.
That just like elevates the scene, right?
Yeah.
Completely.
And that shoulder tap was also like a last minute addition.
Despite the height difference.
Yeah, I kept I'm too short to do this, man. I'm too short for most things, actually.
Anyway. Even this worked out pretty well. The angle, like the transition from that angle to this one, a little bit jarring, but I mean, I don't mind honestly because, you come in with Bombay and then she like establishes herself again as like a dominant figure, so like low angle and then puts the glasses on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tamanna was a little late to rehearsal and she was like, oh sorry, I was just eating food, and then Vikram looks at her and goes, finish that off while we're shooting next. And then we made her eat the rest of it while the camera's rolling.
It is so sexy.
Yeah, that was a very good shot.
Yeah.
We had so many different angles and they all worked out in this one bit. But I mean that again brings us to the end of the episode, which I can't. Every time this scene hits, I'm like, wait, that's it? It's over? It does not feel like 50 minutes at all.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because I mean all three of us edited it and put it together, and if it doesn't feel like 50 minutes to us, then it really doesn't feel 50 minutes to everyone else consuming.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But if you are wondering what next, episode 4 is coming out soon. And also, if you're confused about what happened in this one, just watch the video again.
Watch it again. Right. Thank you so much for sticking around. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.